Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Generation. This time we're going to meet human rights activist N.Zolzaya Nyamdorj. N.Zolzaya majored in international relations at the National University of Mongolia and now works at World Mongol Federation as project coordinator. In 2020, she founded an NGO called Save the Mongolian Language with many other talented young people. Save the Mongolian Language promotes Mongolian language and culture and promotes the protection of the rights of Mongolian nation, ethnic language, and culture within the framework of international law and regulations.
Hello everyone, my name is N.Zolzaya Nyamdorj. I am from Hoof School. I graduated my high school. Currently, I'm working as a project coordinator at the World Mongol Federation NGO. And I majored in international relations at the National University of Mongolia, School of Foreign Affairs and Public Administration. Now we are at my university. Here is my university. I'm really happy and excited to be featured at this Generation broadcast at MNB World. Thank you for having me today.
This morning, as usual, N.Zolzaya is at her yoga studio at UBH Tower. What is your morning routine like?
So I start my morning as drinking lots of water because it is really good for health, also good for my skin. I really care about my skincare, and after that I straight go to my yoga center. Here I am now is Lotus Yoga Center. It's located UBH at the city center. I would like you guys to check this out. Since my high school and during my teenage age, I feel so insecure feeling, so I started doing meditation. Since the time I do it constantly, but not always a day, but sometimes at least 3 times a week, in the morning and before I sleep.
Welcome to our meditation practice.
I really love Boho meditation.
Today's intention for our time
and yoga.
Is to help the
do
mind find
myself
peace
as my
and
home.
balance. Taking both our hands and placing them upon our heart. Take a deep breath.
N.Zolzaya is quite active and she tries to do 15 minutes of meditation every morning. She is interested in sports, especially yoga and running. Stay with us to learn more about this young individual living their best life in Ulaanbaatar. Have you found your lifelong hobbies?
I really think I have found my lifelong hobbies. Actually, at the first time I have lots of hobbies and interested things like reading books and singing a song, painting and watching documentaries and doing sports, but I actually choose 2 of them as a lifelong hobby. The first one is I really love to do social work and projects and work with the young people. And why I like this hobby is which gives me lots of creativity and motivation, and it really inspires me to be a better version of myself. And then the second hobby is doing a sport and athlete. Yoga, this kind of body and physical health thing, and also it gives me a lot of important impact for my mental health.
What kind of yoga do you do and how often?
I started doing yoga for 3 years from now, but it was just kind of random. But now, last 1 year, I'm actively doing yoga for myself mostly, but in this 1 month, I'm training and actively joining to yoga center with the professional guidance with the teacher. So this is really helpful. So I do my yoga always at the morning and sometimes twice in a day because it feels really tired. And after I do my yoga, I feel really relaxed and I feel inner peace. So the morning yoga challenges, I start my yoga 6:30 a.m. in the morning, and it really gives me lots of productivity feeling and give me lots of fresh feeling to start my day. So I really love to challenge my morning yoga.
How do you overcome stress and tension in your life?
After I graduated my university, it feels so hard to find a really good job and what my future career path. So at this time I really found that hobbies helped me to relax myself, release my all tensions and all kind of depressions, and it really helped for it. This hobby helped me to overcome all kind of stresses and depressions. But stresses and kind of anxiety, these kind of things are part of our life, so we should just deal and or accept it, and we can find some solution from it.
Zolzaya is on her way to work. She is an active member of society and volunteers for several clubs and organizations.
My work is actually located really close with my yoga center. Then in the morning I always walk to my office.
What skills and beneficial things have you learned since you started organizing human rights activists?
About to be a human rights activist, which is why I really like it. It is from 2015. I have started my human rights activism, but I really the part that defending human and to protecting the peoples and to being for what's right. It really inspires me and really match with my personality that to help and defend the people.
World Mongol Federation was initiated by former president of Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar, and was established this year by Mongolians in the United Nations, Japan, Europe, and other parts of the world. The main purpose of the federation is to ensure collaboration between organizations of all Mongol communities. Zolzaya, could you tell us what your day as project coordinator looks like?
So as a project manager at the Federation, I do most of the project work, planning, for example, most of the administration work. I also serve as a secretary of the Federation, which means I handle and manage the meetings of the member. Literally, our Federation consists of almost more than 30 people around the world. It consists of Buryats, Southern Mongolians and Mongolians around the world. So, which means I have in charge of the coordination of the cooperation.
As the project coordinator, Zolzaya handles a lot of the workload by herself, such as managing social media, web development, researching news from the field, communicating with Federation members around the world, and the people who are interested in the Federation, and working to set up communities for their project. What responsibilities do you have as project coordinator at World Mongol Federation?
We are still in the process of the establishment of our federation, still doing lots of research and working on to open new branches in many different countries. And since this March, we made some activities for inner Mongolians, such as we have made the 11th of May as a World Day Support Southern Mongolia, which means to support Southern Mongolian human rights. And the last project was a donation campaign, which was for the COVID situation, for overcoming the COVID pandemic in Mongolia. And we raised the fund and we donated 3 ventilators and masks to 3 provinces in Mongolia. And then some of the masks we also recently donated to Ulaanbaatar, which means Red Line, another kind of campaign work.
What do you do at work every day?
Currently, we are working on the development of our website, which is one of the biggest projects of our organization. So today I'm working on the process of developing the website and also the social media contents.
The organization also raises awareness about human rights violations regarding Mongolian culture and language rights. During the Save Mongolian Language movement last year, she volunteered and became the coordinator of the movement. What are the main activities of the World Mongol Federation in Mongolia?
Tibetan human rights activist who were teaching Tibetan language to children, but he's arrested because of that case. It feels so hard for me. Then this case that happened in our fellow Mongolians seems same with this case, and I really worried about that it became next Tibet or next Xinjiang Uyghur. So I really wanna care about and make it internationally known activism. And then I used the techniques and used my experience for the movement, and I voluntarily coordinated the movement, participated and became the part of it. And through this work I met lots of Southern Mongolians around the world. Even from the inner Mongolian autonomous region, Mongolians were contacting to me and saying thank you and asking me to keep doing your work for language protest. There is a really precious one. This is the award which is for the language protest that started last year in the Mongolian autonomous region in China, because of people were doing a protest to saving their mother language. And then during the time, Chinese Communist Party made the policy to clear out Mongolian language from Mongolian schools. Then all Mongolians stand up for saving their mother language. And then in Mongolia, I worked as a coordinator voluntarily. Then I received it in Mongolia, one of the recipients in Mongolia. It is issued from Asian Solidarity Council for Freedom and Democracy.
Well, we are at Amnesty International Mongolia. N.Zolzaya is the youth advisor and head of a student group at Amnesty International Mongolia. Over the years, human rights have moved from the fringes to center stage in world affairs. Amnesty International has grown from seeking the release of political prisoners to upholding the whole spectrum of human rights. Their work protects and empowers people, from abolishing the death penalty to protecting sexual and reproductive rights, and from combating discrimination to defending refugees and migrants' rights.
Here we are at the Amnesty International Mongolia office. It started from just volunteer work with the contract. I worked actively in 6 months. Then the next year I became the leader and senior of the student group. I was in charge of the student group activities. And during the time I learned and gained lots of experience to working with the teamwork and doing activisms, and also gained lots of leadership skills. And then during my responsibility in student group, I offered a full-time job from Amnesty International as a membership coordinator. And then I worked at the MSD when I was a student of university. Before I graduated, I actually offered the job. It was a really happy moment of my life.
Zola, tell us what you like most about doing human rights activism work at Amnesty International Mongolia.
I'm really proud that I'm the young activist of the Amnesty International, and Amnesty International is the biggest human rights movement in the world. And as for this movement, the youth is the biggest power. Same as this, Mongolian Amnesty International has almost 3,000 young people who make most of the activism works and initiate the creative works. Recently I have participated to the Amnesty International Global Skill Sharing event, which is conducted virtually, and there were many young activists from 150 countries.
N.Zolzaya did not expect to be a human rights activist at first, especially when she joined Amnesty International in 2014. Her human rights activism experience has a direct connection to Amnesty International Mongolia. Through her volunteer work and involvement in Amnesty International campaigns, projects, and training, she gradually became a human rights activist.
So now my involvement with the Amnesty International Mongolia, I constantly work on the projects, participate the human rights campaign work, and I do take advices and support from them a lot, because I am also activist of Southern Mongolian human rights issue and the Southern Mongolian language rights issue. So I took a guidance from them, and then I tried to actively join the human rights projects that constantly happen at the Amnesty. And today we have a meeting for one of the Amnesty campaign, which is for Amnesty is doing a guidance for the personal information data draft law. So the students and the activists will come here to make an activism for this law draft, to make it public awareness.
Many people have a favorite way to relax after a long, stressful day. For Zola, after a long day, she likes to drink coffee and chat with her friends from an English club. Another one of her hobbies is running an English language speaking club called Poly Edu Online Club, which she founded in 2018. She has learned English and Chinese independently. What is the goal of Poly Edu Online Club and what makes it unique?
My club has a foreign English speaker, especially it should be native speakers. So I made this small project and applied it to Mongolian Student Union, and they accepted to work together with me. I made an announcement in groups of volunteers of English speakers. Then the many people interested. So currently we have 6 foreign native speakers from US and England. They are all native speakers and willing to work as a voluntarily to help students. And we have almost more than 10 Mongolian volunteers who help our foreign volunteers to make their language activities. And we do our activities online using a Facebook platform. And all our activities are free, and this is for non-profits.
What was most challenging when you taught yourself English and Chinese?
Most of the time I just study my English myself. I was memorizing 100 new vocabularies in a day. I was also listening every day, listening for news like CNN and BBC World, and also I was doing lots of translation work and as a paid job, and also just doing it for improving my English. And I was working as a tour guide in order to improve my speaking, but it still went well. So I tried to improve it as a different way. And when I was finding a job, I was accepted to one of the biggest group company in Mongolia actually, and the final level I rejected. It really influenced me to improve my English, especially my pronunciation. When I was a student, I started learning Chinese, and also I go to the Chinese training center, which they call it Confucius Institute, that located National University of Mongolia. And I was selected as one of the best students of the institute, and I rewarded the scholarship to travel to China, Shandong province, and to the Shandong University of China. And during summertime, in 2 weeks, it was a really good experience for me, to motivated me to study more Chinese.
Thank you, N.Zolzaya, for sharing your day with us. What advice would you like to give to the younger generation?
Everyone has a different experience and life story, and everyone's life has lots of things to learn from it. So from my perspective, I would like to tell that there is actually this finding yourself exists, and the finding your passionate the field of study, field of work, it is possible. Thank you for with me in one day of my work and project and activities, and I would like to say thank you again and goodbye.
Well, this is where this episode of Generation ends. Today we had the chance to meet a young woman who has challenged and developed herself in lots of ways. We've learned from our guest how important it is to be active in society and to use your voice to help and inspire others. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you again in another 2 weeks.